A gift for life.
Hello. Thursday afternoon, Blue Stage, 16:15. Great diehards, hospitality professionals, hospitality enthusiasts. Great that you are still here. And very great that you will be here, but you will also be treated for a very special last session of this conference. And it will be something I hope that will be a novelty for you, because we will delve into the future of 2050. And it's not just because what we think, but it's really evidence-based scenarios that will be presented by Dr. Constanze Heydkamp from Fraunhofer Institute. And we will work on these scenarios a bit. How this will work, they will explain us. But please welcome Dr. Constanze Heydkamp with a big applause. And I'm very much looking forward to hearing your great scenarios.
Thank you. So
yours.
Thank you. So thanks for joining this last session on the Blue Stage today. We will start with the co-creation in a little bit. I will give a little bit of introduction to the topic first, and also a little bit of background information about where I'm from, who I am, what I do. In the end, we're all here in the session to co-create FutureHotel Scenarios. And I'm pretty sure that most of us would love to have a DeLorean, travel into the future, walk around a little bit, then travel back and make very good investment decisions, bet on the right team, get rich. But since you're all here and you want to learn about the future, I'm pretty sure you don't have a DeLorean and you have not seen the future yet. And you want to learn about it. The thing is that we have seen the future. At Fraunhofer, in applied research, we use scientific methods to look into the future, to get a glimpse of the future, so that we can prepare for it, and we can help our partners from the hotel industry prepare for the future. So I brought one example, how we do this, or what we did in the past. In 2008, and my colleague Vanessa Borgmann, she already introduced this showcase in an earlier session. In 2008, we developed a future hotel showcase that included, for example, dynamic lighting, robots, augmented reality, different topics that are relevant today in the industry. But we developed this showcase in 2010, looking into the future of 2020. And of course, today, not every hotel room looks exactly like this, but that's not the point. We wanted to give our partners and the industry a glimpse into the future, what it might look like, what trends are already existing and visible back then in 2010, and how they could be projected into the future, what potentials they have in the future, and what this could mean to the hotel industry, so that the partners could prepare, the visitors could get impulses, prepare, and get active. So I brought 3 quotes explaining the work that we do at Fraunhofer in our team. The first quote I brought says, "It's not about predicting the future, but to be prepared for the future." We prepare our project partners for what's to come, what might come. The second quote is, "As for the future, your task is not to foresee it, to predict it, but to enable it, to create the right framework so that the future that we wish for can actually happen." And the last quote is, "The best way," and I'm pretty sure you've heard this before, "the best way to predict the future is to create it." And that's also what we do in our projects. We're in applied research, so we actually make use cases with partners. We test new ideas, test new solutions and concepts with partners from the hotel industry. We assess the outcomes and we develop the ideas further. So we actually create the future together. But let's take one step back. I'm from Fraunhofer. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have already heard this name, the Research Institute. But who are we exactly? What do we do? So there's a Fraunhofer Society that has 76 institutes worldwide. We have around 30,000 researchers in the background. We do application-oriented research, which means we do research for and with the industry, in this case, the hotel industry. And I personally come from the Fraunhofer IAO, the Institute for Industrial Engineering in Stuttgart. It's one of the 76 institutes. We're located in Stuttgart, but we have different locations, different teams in different locations, in Berlin, in Munich, in Heilbronn. And we have around 630 employees. And the central research topics that our institute deals with are around what does the future of working look like and what does the future of living look like? And where do both come together in the cities of the future? So within this cosmos of Fraunhofer and applied research at Fraunhofer IAO, we have one research project called FutureHotel. And our mission statement is that FutureHotel is a globally unique science-based innovation network of Fraunhofer, open to all who share an enthusiasm for inventing the future. And that's exactly what we do in this network. Just to give you a glimpse of who are the partners, who is the innovation network, these are our current partners, and I think it gets very clear that it's hoteliers as well as suppliers for hotels. So it's actually partners from the whole ecosystem of the hotel industry. And all those bright minds, the experts from the industry, from different fields in the industry come together. They're all very enthusiastic, and they're all very happy to shape the future together. They come together and they think the future ahead together with us, with our scientific methods. So what we offer them is we are their innovation radar, you could say. We look inside the Fraunhofer Society, see who is working on which innovations in research, in applied research, for example. We are also organizing best practice visits so that we can see innovation outside in the world, in other industries, not only the hotel industry. We organize expert talks, lectures, scientific impulses, so that our partners are inspired and have these impulses and can think them further in context with their own business, of course. We also do networking within the network, so I think that's a very important part. These enthusiastic minds come together and they actually speak very openly about challenges that they face, and we discuss together how solutions could look like to those problems. So it's a very trustworthy and open network. And we also offer to them, as the managers and coordinators of this network, we offer to them co-creative formats, interactive formats, like we have planned today, in a much smaller scale, though, with the partners. And we together discuss, let's say, research insights that we have developed, and we discuss it with them, because they are the experts from the industry, and it's very important to understand what helps them, what's important to them, and not just, you know, the scientists behind it that have a great idea, but it needs to be applicable to the industry. We also do use cases. I said this before, we want to create the future together. And a lot of the work that we do with and for the network is based on future scenarios. So the question is, what are future scenarios? What are they good for? How does this whole idea work? So let's just imagine we're at a hotel conference in the year 2008, and the topic on stage is the platform economy. So now your neighbor, whoever sits next to you, leans over and says, hey, have you heard about these guys who think they can actually sell private people's sofas and guest rooms instead of hotel accommodation? Now, there's 3 ways you could react to such a statement. The first one, oh, this is not working, it's supposed to be GIFs. The first one is, these silly guys, what are they thinking? They cannot rattle the market or the industry, right? That nothing will happen. The second one would be shock. oh gosh, I don't know what to do with this information, that will kill me or my industry. And the third one, and that's how we'd like to react to that statement or such statements or developments and trends that we see, is let's bring it on. We'll assess this development, we'll look into it, and we'll define solutions for this problem or this topic that might become a problem in the future. Now, this is what a typical scenario technique process looks like, and I don't want to get into too much detail. But we always start with developments and trends that we see today. So we look into societal trends, technological trends, market trends. We analyze them, we identify them, we analyze them, and we see the connections between them. And from these connections, we can say which are the key factors, the ones that all the others are dependent on, for example. And these key factors we take and we project into the future. Now, you could do this in a numeric way, but you could also do this in a qualitative way, meaning you could say this trend might just stay the same, it might increase or it might decrease. Very simple. And then we project these single developments into the future, and we combine them again, forming scenarios. And that's the orange circle here with the 5 green circles inside. So according to how well the developments fit with each other, they're combined so that they, ideally, do not have an overlap, but they're very clearly separated from the other scenarios. And now these are extreme scenarios, right? We could have scenarios that are very extreme in the one direction or the other direction. And of course, these scenarios will not become true just the way that we thought them. But within this orange circle, within this landscape of potential futures, there's a high potential that one of these developments and scenarios might actually come to life and become reality. So if we prepare for the extreme scenarios, the one on the very top and the one on the very bottom, for example, we are very, very well prepared, and it helps us to navigate early on, identify where we want to be headed and how to get there. So before I got on stage today, of course, some work has already been done within our FutureHotel Innovation Network regarding these scenarios that we will talk about in a little bit. The first thing is what we did already happened in 2022. And we identified the landscape of societal changes that are currently going on and that are affecting the hotel industry. This is the landscape that I'm talking about. And then we created 3 white papers out of it. The first one describing the developments, and then the second 2 white papers took out certain key factors and explained how they affect the hotel industry. And you can download the white papers via the link here. And then also what we did is in November we got together with the partners from our innovation network, and we added a couple of more developments, not just societal ones, but market developments, certain threats like global climate change or political topics. We added competitors, potential competitors to this landscape. We presented all the developments to our partners. We discussed what their impact might be on the hotel industry as it is today. And then together we co-created raw future scenarios. Raw means they're not fully finished yet. That's what we want to do with you today in our co-creation session. But they're already, you know, the green bubbles that we saw before in the projection. So there's 3 that I brought today and that we want to work on in the session. And I will go into detail and tell a little bit about all 3 scenarios before we start co-creating, so that you know what we're going to talk about and maybe you know where you want to start. And you can already think of some ideas that you have with regards to the 3 scenarios. So the first scenario is about rural holiday travel in 2050. So about rural holiday destinations. And the scenario drivers, the underlying developments, the most important developments that are underlying the scenario are, for one, global climate change affects former tourist destinations. Let's say the sea level is rising, so it affects destinations in close to the sea, or there's no snow in the mountains, for example, so you cannot ski anymore, or we have heat waves in the summer, for example, water shortages, whatnot. Also, under one of the scenario drivers is that the guests are asking more for personalized and emotional, unique experiences in the tourist destinations. And services are in the focus of the hotels because they are the USP to the hotel. It's not necessarily the bed and the room, but it's a service that is offered to the guest in 2050 in this scenario. There's also a still ongoing lack of employees in hospitality. And especially in these rural areas, the small and privately owned businesses become rare because it's not very attractive to keep the businesses alive. With people moving to the bigger cities, the locals moving to the bigger cities, finding the employees in those rural villages, for example. But at the same time, there's a need to create 365-day destinations, because you want the people to live there, the locals, to live in the villages. You want the services, the public services, to be kept up there. You also want the employees to be able to live there because there's services there, and it's nice to live there. So this is the scenario, and I'm trying not to read out every phrase to you. But in the end, hotels become hospitality service hubs that reactivate the village, the rural village, and they offer combined experiences. So in the end, the idea is that we have very dispersed accommodation ideas, formats. We have hotels, we have guest houses, privately owned apartments or family-owned apartments. Maybe we have a campground in this village. And they all work together to make the village thrive, to offer combined services and shared services. Let's say the people from the campground can also eat breakfast at the hotel or use their spa, for example, or the housekeeping does not only work in the hotel, but also maybe in the family-owned apartment. So a lot of the tasks that are necessary to keep this village and to keep this touristic destination alive the tasks are shared amongst all the stakeholders. Perspectives are also offered to private guest house owners or apartment owners to continue their business in dispersed hospitality formats. So let's say we have a family-owned business and they're not yet on any website so that people can book their apartment through the website. And since maybe it's old people that have had this business for many, many years, they're not really open to changing that. They don't have the knowledge, and they'd rather quit their business instead of going the transformation. So the hotels maybe help these family-owned businesses to get there, right? The hotels also offer, for example, childcare services or services that usually or traditionally the village would take care of, the public would take care of, but as the public might not be able to finance, like a public swimming pool or other places in the village that are very important for village life, for the people to meet, maybe the hotels could step in. So for everyone who had joined the session before, it's a lot of the topics that were discussed there before. Giving back and giving value to the community. Yeah, in the end, the village will become strong because everyone is working together with the aim of improving the village, making it work as a tourist destination, and treating the guests, the employees, and the locals as customers and as addressees of the services a hotel can offer. So in the end, ideally, this would foster tourism acceptance from the locals, of course. And to summarize this first scenario, so they combine forces and enthusiasm for their destination, for their village, to shape the future of the village and create the future of the village together. They activate existing capacities, beds and rooms that might otherwise be closed down, and offer perspectives to local businesses, family-owned businesses. The destination is an ecosystem of dispersed solutions, but shared services and an overall experience. Guests, locals, and employees are equal addressees of services and offers, and integration and participation foster tourism acceptance. That is our first scenario that we will work on later on. Now to the next one, and it's very different. Get ready. It's about urban business hotels in 2050. Here, the underlying driving factors are that autonomous driving is here, and it produces very new services inside and around the vehicle, resulting in a competition to today's hotels and the products. I will give you a hint in a little bit what that means. The sustainability demands are also rising, or have risen until 2050, and in many cities, in many European inner cities, cars are banned, so the cars cannot drive in anymore. Public transport will, of course, be strengthened in that scenario, and a lot of public space is improved in the cities. The third driver that I want to highlight here is rising cost of work. So it makes business travel has to become very time efficient, and results in, on the one hand, reduced business travel, and on the other hand, we only do business travel then, in this scenario, that is located in junctions and transport hubs that are very well reachable. So in this scenario, and I'm not going to read this out, but I'll give you an idea of what this scenario does. So yesterday, I took a train from Stuttgart to Berlin to be here on time today. And in this scenario, my day yesterday would have been totally different, and my arrival here, my travels getting here would have been absolutely different. I would not have spent my day yesterday on the train, wasting a full work day on the train, but I would have worked from the office, just regular. I would have had dinner with my family, I would have taken my kids to bed, and once they're happily sleeping, I would have taken my luggage, went outside on the street, and an autonomous car would stop in front of me. I would get all my stuff in, sit down, and then maybe it would show me my favorite TV show that I would have watched otherwise at home. I might call a friend. I might look at my slides, prepare, look at the floor plan of the Messe Berlin and see where I had to go. But the car would take me very close to Berlin. And after a couple of hours, because I think it takes like 6 or 7 hours by car, maybe more, after a couple of hours, when I get tired, I tell the car that I want to sleep now. It would change the lighting, it would kind of let me lay down, and I could fall asleep while the car is taking me to Berlin overnight. And what's very nice is that once we have reached or almost reached the final destination, the car would just park in the future business hotel in 2050. It would park there and let me sleep, finish my sleep, and in the morning I would get up, I would get out of the car, and I would have a door to my private bathroom facility so I could get ready, as I would this morning in my hotel room. I would be able to get ready in the bathroom. Maybe there was a cafe connected to the service hub that I could have my breakfast in. If I still had some time, because I get up early, I could use some co-working space, answer a couple of emails, work a little bit before, and now that's the point, before either this autonomous vehicle takes me to Messe Berlin, and I'm here at exactly the right moment, at 10 o'clock in the morning when the door is open, or I would take public transport down into the city, or maybe a passenger drone. So the whole travel experience changes. It's very time efficient because I can get a good night's sleep on the car while I'm getting where I want to be at. That's the scenario 2. And to summarize, It's all about time-efficient and individual business travel. So I could get anywhere, not just the major transportation junctions, but with the car I could get to any place in Germany or in Europe. The self-driving vehicle is a personal space that provides new entertainment and service offers during travel. The personal space, I think, is very important for business travel because, you know, on the train, people overhear your phone calls. People can look on your screen on the laptop. So this personal space is very nice and very comfortable. The central hotel hubs where the cars park overnight or for the rest of the time before I have to get up, they can be very spacious or very space efficient depending on the location where they're at. So the first picture that you saw, this looks more like a big parking garage, and then what's on the bottom is supposed to be a bus, a futuristic bus, and then you have the passenger drones. And this one looks more private, so the car parks and I have my private entrance to the bathroom facilities and to the hub and the services it provides. And what's also very nice about this scenario is that there's industry overarching cooperations and services with the automotive industry and the hotel industry. And we could, I think, I see nodding, so I think there's many more ideas coming up when you think about this scenario and what it could improve or what it could challenge in today's hotel industry. So now the third scenario, there's a lot of text here, but I think what's most important, the most important driver for this scenario is that while society, so it's very society trend-driven, and a big trend in our society is that we become more and more individualistic. We have multigraphies. We don't have like the regular biography. Everyone has the same biography, 3 steps, but we have multigraphs. We have a lot of different connections. We have temporary best friends, and then we meet other people. We live according to lifestyles and social groups. So we want to be very individualistic, but at the same time, we are longing for community experiences. We want to belong somewhere and to some community within all this individualism. That's the basic driver of this scenario. So we still want the personalized, emotional, and unique experiences. And the lifestyles that we live, and I think that's very important because it's different from the target groups that we use a lot today. The lifestyles, they are lifelong. So I belong to a certain community, to a certain group, and it doesn't depend on my age, for example, or the state of my life that I'm in, whether I have children or not, whether I'm studying or not. But it's a lifestyle that accompanies me throughout my whole life. It's the values that I have, the things that are important to me, for example. So in this scenario, the hotel becomes a town hall and a social meeting space with strong local connectedness. The community hotel architecture, as you can see in the picture, is very open, especially on the ground floor. It welcomes people in, it invites people. The services that are offered are all around building community, getting people together, getting people to mingle, exchange, getting locals, employees, and guests exchange. Socializing is the biggest and most important topic for this hotel and in this scenario. The spaces are designed multifunctionally so that they can answer all the needs of these different groups, of these communities, and the employee's role changes towards community managers. They're networkers, they're coaches with a high interest in making guests feel welcome and at home. So it's all about community and exchange in this scenario. So the neighborhood's future town hall is a living room for the locals to mingle, but also to exchange with the guests and the hotel employees. Central to the hotel's success is the community building ability of the hotel. The focus of the hotel is around the gathering spaces, not the hotel room, the gathering spaces, the community services, the events, and the experiences that are created for the community. And uniqueness, and I think that's very important, uniqueness is generated through special local partnerships. Also a topic that we discussed in the session before. Local partnerships and networks that are displayed within the hotel. Let's say partnerships with artists, local artists, partnerships with local initiatives, with the local community. And of course, spaces, hotel spaces suited for this are very special places that have a long history, that can tell a history, that can be used for storytelling and for placemaking. So this is a quick run through our raw scenarios. And now we can get into the co-creating session. This slide gives you an overview over the 3 scenarios that we have. And the way we want to do it now is we have 3 future corners, 1 for each scenario. There's 1 over here, 1 over there, and 1 over here. I must admit I forgot which one is where. We have to go over them again. That's the last scenario, the community hotel. I think this is the rural holiday travel destination, and this is the autonomous driving. We want to collect your ideas on these scenarios or regarding these scenarios on the posters. So we have laid out Post-its and pens, and we'd like you to go through the different topics that are presented on the posters, and we'd like to collect your ideas. Your additions, your thoughts in English and German, whatever, and we'd like to get in touch with you and discuss the different ideas that you have so that we can make good scenarios, useful scenarios out of the raw scenarios that I brought today.
How do you want to organize it? Shall we then just move around all of us?
I would do so. I would do so. So maybe we start at 1 of the scenarios and then we move from one to the next one. If some of you have to leave and you'd like to leave ideas on a topic that we are not there yet, we haven't gotten to yet, please just leave the notes and put them on the poster. But I'd say maybe we start right over here.
With the totally in this business travel, so then we would really eliminate the Deutsche Bahn then. If this would be so I'm into. Let's go. Let's elaborate on it.
Yes, let's all move there, please.
No, okay. So while we are moving and while the audience is having a working session, I said goodbye to the online audience of this blue stage of today. So thank you for joining our sessions at the hospitality track. I have to say goodbye to you now, as you cannot participate in this great workshop. So next year, be there and come with us. Thank you for watching us. Hope to see you next year, alive and kicking. Let's build hospitable futures together. Thank you very much. And I invite the audience to co-create the future. Thank you.